Hello guys, I'm going to talk about the second iteration on the modules, draft2, and I thought we could play some music, make it more exciting. So let's do that. Okay, so I refactored to do MVC again. I have added a concept of submodules here. So when I change the UI, we can see that my signals has been namespaced to app.new, which means my main module is app and it has a submodule called new. And you see the same thing on the actual state change. So inside my state store, it is also namespaced to app.new. So let's have a look-see at the code. And let me just close this down a bit. Okay, so again, the main file of to do MVC, I now only import the app module, which I fire up here with controller register modules. So I have the app namespace here. And if we move into app and index here, we have the module. And it also uses register modules. So this is basically how you create submodules. You have the main modules on the controller, and then each module can register its own modules. And this one registers new, list, and footer. And what it basically does is handling the namespacing in regards of signals, services, and state. So let's take a look at how, oops, that was components, modules, footer, and actions. Let's look at set filter. So what I've done now is make it possible to grab a module property from the action. And this module property is the module the action is running on. So in this case, it's on the footer. And what you can do there is point to state, and then you can change the state on the module. So let's look inside the footer. We can see that we have a filter state. So when I point to module.state.set filter, then it changes that state, which actually is app footer and filter. But you don't have to worry about that. Okay, but we also have the possibility to point to the other modules. So in this case, I point to, like, this is on the footer. I click clear completed, and I want to do changes on the list. So in that case, I point to modules.app.list, and then I change the state of that module. So let's look at list. We have to-dos, and that is what I'm changing. So it's easier to point to different modules and change state. And as I said, you can also point to services here. What's also nice is that other like shared modules will have the possibility to say modules, and then, for example, Cerebral module foo, and then the state or services or whatever. So actions you create in your shared modules can securely point to themselves using this kind of syntax. Right, cool. So this makes it a bit easier. And if we take a look at components, footer, shit. Okay, sorry about that, but my Atom editor just had a huge problem. So let me just go back into, where was I? On the footer component. Okay, so what I wanted to say was that you still need to grab state manually from the state store. So you use the app and footer in this case. And well, the thing is, I think it's really important to separate Cerebral from the UI and make it loosely coupled. And that creates some challenges in the sense that maybe you want like a modules concept here too. But I don't know really. I just like the concept of separating them. And well, what I mean to say is that you want your UI to be incredibly stupid. You want all your logic inside inside like your application, which is Cerebral in this case. So any imports you do, you just want to import the basics, and that makes it also a lot easier to build universal applications. If I were to, for example, import the module here and use that to point to like module dot get path filter, for example, it would import everything about that module, and I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better to keep these components really dumb, in the sense that you do not have lots of imports and they don't really know much about your application. That said, I'm always open for suggestions, but that is how it works right now. And when you trigger signals, you do that, of course, also on the namespace. Shouldn't I have a signal? Here it is. So this prop signals app footer clear completed, clicked, just like that. Okay, but I feel actually confident that we can push this to master now, and we can release a new version of Cerebral because it doesn't affect the current API. And we can play a bit more around with it, label it as experimental. And when we feel confident and we have some modules to share with people, we can release it. Okay, thanks for listening.